Hey guys, so I'm Ben and this is Greg. We're both members of the Bluegrass Youth Sustainability Council. You already heard Hart and Valerie talk a little bit about what it does, and we have a little keynote that we're going to give on some environmental issues facing Kentucky today. Okay, so let's say that when you entered this room, there was $1 million sitting on your seat. You would probably start by going like pretty nuts because that's a ton of money. And understandably so, but in this little situation, I would be the city of Lexington, and you all combined would be the Environmental Protection Agency. From 2006 to 2011, the two parties were caught in a massive legal battle over Lexington's violations of the Clean Water Act, resulting in them having to pay a $300 million fine to the federal government. This might come as a shock to you, never having heard of this story where a city violated one of the most important pieces of environmental legislation in the nation's history, but it's something that the city is still working hard to fix to this day. So what specifically went wrong with Lexington in this situation? Well, it started from 2014 to 2015 when sewage leaked from pipes 51 times. These leakages are part of a significant long-term problem for the city, and the fines resulted from a consent agreement that included a $590 million overhaul of the city's sewer system. So for those keeping track, that's now $890 million that Kentucky's had to spend, or that Lexington's had to spend. The flaws in the system are understandable, given that according to Lexington's director of the Division of Water Quality, there are over 7 million feet of publicly owned sewer pipelines in Lexington and another 32,000 manholes. One of the main causes of the leakages is even more tangible. Fats, oils, and greases cause significant problems for sewer systems, meaning that washing them down the drain is causing major headaches for our city. However, Lexington's issues are somewhat minor when taking the whole state of Kentucky into account. For as long as our state has been mining coal, we have been dumping it into our streams and creeks as well. Large companies are not spending the necessary time and resources in order to keep our ecosystems safe. I know that you all have probably heard this before, but what we do not often understand is the people who are affected by this. If you have a birthday in October or September, please stand up. If the whole crowd is Kentucky, the people standing right now represent the percentage of Kentuckians that don't have access to clean water. Now to tie that statistic to real experience, listen to the story of Merton County, which is featured on CNN with an article titled, "The Kentucky County Where the Water Smells Like Diesel." The water that comes out of the bathtub in Hope Workman's house in Merton County is bright blue. 2 times every week, she has to drive up a mountain pass to get to a pipe connected to a spring, which she had to install herself 20 years ago because nobody wanted to drink tap water. Not only that, she also has turned her pool into a reservoir for collecting rainwater, because even that's better than the tap water that comes from her sink. This is not a story from the 1930s or from a third world country. This is from 2018, 5 counties over from here. We are denying people basic human necessities. It does not feel like this should be an idea that needs to be explained. We understand that nobody can live without water, yet consistently Kentucky, especially in its poorest regions, has been let down by both our state and national legislators who have failed to make change on this matter. We are the next generation, and though this situation may seem daunting, especially in eastern Kentucky, there is still much you can do. Start by looking to your own community and modeling good behavior for your peers. When you brush your teeth in the morning, turn off the faucet when you're doing it. If you've worn a pair of pants only once, you don't have to do a whole another load of laundry. An important, yet sort of funny one, is to pick up after your pets. Now that might seem a little funny to you, and it does to me too, but it can be extremely harmful to our waterways. When the rain washes it down a drain, there are not many places that waste can go besides a stream. Organize trash pickups with your friends by waterways. It may seem like manual labor, but you're making a huge impact on your environment. If you've been itching to become involved with our local government, they, more than anyone, would love a way to deal with the polluted waters. If you have an idea, take it to them. If you get turned down, you still are trying to make a difference, and you still are putting that idea out there to the world. When the water is boiling, it is foolish to turn off the heat. Nelson Mandela.
Water doesn't only fuel our life. It fuels the world around us, and we often forget that we are not the only ones here. Thanks to agriculture and industry, humanity can shape the world around it to fit our needs. And nowhere is this ability more prevalent than in cities. Cities are essentially built ecosystems, But this is a problem because it's very difficult, if not impossible, to build an ecosystem that works as well as rainforests or coral reefs. In those ecosystems, interactions come about naturally and organisms obey the flow of nutrients and energy. The exact opposite happens in cities. In cities, we use air conditioning, we get food from thousands of miles away, and we dictate when lights go on and off. Most of this is necessary to support a population of 7.6 billion, but it's important to remember that nature is the best engineer, and if we harness that power, we can make our cities even better. One great way to do this is with trees. As of 2014, Lexington's urban tree canopy was 24.5% of the city's core. The national average is 27%, and the recommendation from American forests is 40%. But even at 24.5, Lexington gets benefits equaling $30.7 million each year from its tree canopy. It's remarkable the number of ways trees contribute to the health and economy of cities. They act as air filters, sponging up particulates that would otherwise enter lungs and cause asthma, lung cancer, or strokes. Trees absorb harmful tailpipe emissions, including volatile organic compounds and nitrogen oxides. Trees also give municipal drainage infrastructure a break, as they soak up water from rain and soil. This reduces stormwater runoff and the chances of flooding, services that Lexington clearly is in desperate need of. According to CityLab, the net cooling effect of a young, healthy tree is equivalent to 10 room-sized air conditioners operating 20 hours a day. In addition, there are more unexpected ways trees improve city life. Planting trees has been shown to actually reduce car crashes, and they also make walking safer by creating a visual and physical barrier between the roads and pedestrians. Businesses on streets with lots of trees show 12% higher income streams, and an additional benefit is that while asphalt streets and parking lots raise city temperatures by 3 to 7 degrees, having a significant impact on energy bills, properly shaded neighborhoods have been shown to reduce energy bills by 15 to 35%. Additionally, they can also add tens of thousands of dollars in property value to homes and businesses. All of those benefits should be enough to convince you of the importance of a robust urban canopy. These factors are especially important to Lexington because several key species, including pine oak and white and green ash trees, are dying out. Other cities in the region have had success with urban forestry initiatives. Cincinnati has a tree canopy of 39%, but it took more than 30 years of concerted, publicly funded efforts. They first employed an arborist in Cincinnati in 1980, whereas Lexington didn't have one until 1999. The good news is that 84% of the land where trees are needed is privately owned, which means that we can each take action in our own yards. Some parts of Lexington are further along than others. Older neighborhoods like Ashland, as well as Council District 4, which has the UK Arboretum, have some of the highest shade coverage. Areas like Tates Creek Road at Kennesaw Drive have less shade. When we build our cities around people and trees, instead of air conditioning and cars, we become healthier, our cities become cleaner, our economies bloom, and we find ourselves in better accordance with the natural world.
Producer of coal, Kentucky has a long history with the energy sector, with definite high and low points. However, recently, Kentucky's coal jobs have dropped to their lowest numbers since 1898. 1898, not 19. 8 of Kentucky's 20 coal plants have been retired or converted to natural gas units since 2012. And while a good deal of the decline is explainable by this rise in natural gas usage, another cause is the developing trend where corporations are seeking to limit their carbon footprint. Toyota aims to be a zero-carbon company by 2015. GM, Ford, Walmart, L'Oreal, and several others have also made significant goals to reduce emissions. Additionally, Kentucky's bourbon producers are looking seriously at renewables as a viable way to cultivate environmental stewardship. Even Kentucky's Coal Museum has installed solar panels and is now running partially on solar energy. The Coal Museum runs partially on solar energy. One source of energy that companies might look to in Kentucky is hydroelectric generators. Although it's been overshadowed by coal, hydroelectricity has great potential in the Commonwealth. Though it only accounted for 3.4% of power generated in 2014, it constituted 87% of power derived from natural energy sources, renewable energy sources. For a case study in the untapped potential hydroelectricity has in Kentucky, look no further than Lock 7 and the Kentucky River. KU has been operating the dam till the 1990s when they retired it. It was then bought and renovated, and now all 3 units are running again to generate 2.2 megawatts of power. However, it's the only dam currently operating on the Kentucky River. Out of the 12 other locks and dams, none are being used as hydroelectric generators. There are also 33 unused dams on the Ohio. A 2012 study by Oak Ridge National Lab estimated that these dams would quadruple Kentucky's hydroelectricity output. David Kinloch, the owner of the company that now runs Lock 7 on the Kentucky River, has plans and licenses to develop and build two more 2.6 megawatt facilities on Lock 12 in Estill County and Lock 14 in Lee County. Those two facilities alone would power 1,200 homes. This is not something that's as far as we think. It could only be a couple years or less at most.
Throughout this survey we've given you of environmental industries in Kentucky, some of you probably thought we were a little bit preachy or doomsday-ish. And honestly, a lot of that might be true. People don't really like talking about environmental issues because it reminds us of how horrible humanity can be. We have this incredible, beautiful planet that seems to defy all laws of the universe to create life, and we treat it like garbage. Currently, our air is full of smog, our water is full of plastic, and our land is covered in garbage. The world has done everything for us, and we in turn have committed every atrocity in the book back to it. Even nowadays, when we have the data and the facts to show that our current course of action can in no way be sustained for future generations, lawmakers have dragged their feet and made excuses.
We are not our ancestors' generation, and we will not let ourselves be defined by their actions. We know the world we are living in. We know what we need to do to make it better. Now more than ever, we have the tools at our fingertips to make ourselves heard, and everyone, whether they know it or not, has the urge inside them to march to the beat of their own drum through life. We will not be told what to do, and we will certainly not be told what our Earth has to be.
The beautiful thing about the Earth is that almost everything we do revolves around it. No matter what career you wind up pursuing, or whatever you do in your free time, you can use that time to help create environmental change. If you want to be a lawyer, you can help advocate for environmental agencies and protect our smaller wildlife refuges but from being muscled out by special interests. If you want to be a doctor, you can donate to charities or funds to preserve our ecosystem. If you want to be an executive in business, you can institute policies to reduce your carbon footprint. We don't expect that anyone is going to go home and immediately save the world or stop climate change, because that's not how life goes. But we hope that if you take one thing away from this talk, it's that environmental progress can be made on many different levels. Lexington's EPA violations may seem like some sort of big government conflict that ordinary people can't really be factored into. You consider the fact that all the sewer overflow can be tied back to the fats and insoluble products Lexingtonians shove down their drains. Entrepreneurs are fostering a hydroelectric industry 30 minutes away on the Kentucky River. But a major roadblock in its way is a cumbersome set of regulations. The drinking water issue is a nationwide problem that would cost trillions to fix, but it has done incredible harm in counties not far from here. While it's certainly daunting that environmental crises exist at so many levels, this also means that there are many different entry points to get involved. Whether that means running something as large as running for office to reform regulations, or something smaller like interning at a renewable energy firm for the summer. You could work in the Division of Water Quality to revamp Lexington's crumbling pipe infrastructure, or just inform your classmates that there is a genuine human rights crisis around water happening in parts of Kentucky.
But if every time you turn on the faucet or drive down a barren road or turn on a lamp, you think about something from this talk, it's likely that you'll start doing the little things. And to a certain degree, it's those little things that count. Nothing great ever started out in its finished form. It takes an extremely long time for a fledgling idea to reach the immense potential that it possesses, and that potential is inside all of you in this room today. You all have the ability to make change at a huge scale, and you just need to reach out your hands and take it. Thank you so much. If you have any more questions about the BYSC or any of the topics that we've talked about today, you can find Greg or I and ask them. You guys have been a great audience, and thank you.